Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mahin, Matric number 1723486. So this is our final poster, final year project 1, Bachelor of Computer Science. So now I'm going to describe about our project. So I'm giving you the project basic information. So our project title is an analysis of greenhouse gas emission and its impact on loading countries using machine learning. And our project ID is 946 Earth. So Saif is my FYP group partner, and Dr. Raini Binti Hassan is our supervisor, and Dr. Rawad is our coordinator. So our project category is basically a research-based project. So now I'm going to talk about our abstract. So each and every gaseous substance in the atmosphere has the capacity to take in infrared radiation and hence trapping and keeping the heat in the atmosphere is referred to as a greenhouse gas. So this causes the greenhouse effect, which contributes to global warming by rising the amount of heat in the atmosphere. For the last century, temperature has been rising at an alarming rate. Moreover, people are responsible for more than 70% of the greenhouse gas discharge. So every nation or every continent is being impacted by climate change. So it is harming people's life, upsetting national economics. Weather patterns are shifting, sea levels are increasing, and weather events are becoming more extreme. So it aligns with the SDG 13, which is climate action, and hence we will work on a lot of data sets that consist of all the greenhouse gas emission for different countries over almost 3 decades, and we aim to analyze the data of greenhouse gas emission from 1990 to 2018, and we are using machine learning algorithms to predict impact of loading countries of for the next decade. Now I'm talking about the main problem of our project. So Earth is the only planet in the solar system that's known to hold life. Earth's atmosphere plays one of the crucial roles for this. Greenhouse gas is a very necessary evil for the atmosphere. By retaining energy from the sun, and it has kept Earth climate variable for humans and millions of species. So, however, an increase in these gases may result in amplifying heat around the world. So basically, greenhouse gases generate major environmental and health issues as well as climate change by trapping and heat affecting many species in already arid areas. So we can see extremely weather events, wildfires, droughts, and food supply shortage are all experienced by climate change caused by greenhouse gas emission. As our world continues to generate the large amount of greenhouse gases, weather patterns may shift and certain animal species may become extinct. So we can see greenhouse gas also contribute to particular air population as well as respiratory and the lung alignments. Carbon dioxide, methane, the fluoride gas, and the nitrous oxide are considered to be generated gas. So furthermore, in the past few decades, we can see the emission rate of these gases is increasing at an alarming rate, as I said before. So those gases have become out of balance and threatening to significantly alter which living creatures can live on this planet and where they can survive. So, in essence, the current world works on the edge of the cliff, and without a proper destination of the uh, or estimation of the problem, it will be late to turn around. Moreover, climate change the long and versatile process. These gases directly impact climate change. Not only stopping climate change is a time or consuming practice, also proper plans, placement, and absolute requirement. Without proper time and geographical prediction, is difficult to plan to reduction of greenhouse gas emission. So these are our project objectives. Our project objectives are two. The first one is to study and visualize about the greenhouse gas emission data from 1990 to 2018, and the second one is to predict the emission rate of greenhouse gas in certain areas for the next decade. Now I'm talking about our project significance. We can see this project involves one of the greatest threats of humanity, which is climate change. With the help of the prediction, we can draw the conclusion of the climate change over a decade in certain area, which will be a greater assistance of scientists, researcher, or like many more. So more importantly, it will draw the attention of the country's specific government or many NGOs, which may hopefully change the current downgrading trend of the environment. So now I'm talking about our research question. So we have set three research questions. The first one is which country have the largest emission rate in this world? Like we have categorized the like third countries like first, second, and third. The first one is underdeveloping. The second one is developing, and the third one is developed, already developed. The second question is how does large population related to greater mm, greenhouse gas emission, and the third one is what impact will greenhouse gas have on loading countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the USA, or might be China, within a decade. And the rest will describe my other group mate Saif. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Saif and I'll be taking after my groupmate. She already presented the project significance and I'll be moving on to project scope. The research includes 3 decades of dataset in the greenhouse gas in the hopes of identifying the problem and creating awareness for this. So the data we have is from 1990 to 2019. For the context of this research, we will examine the existing proportion of greenhouse gas by underdeveloped, middle class, upper middle class and developed countries. We have chosen 2 countries representing each of these classes. For this underdeveloped category, now we have Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. For developing, we have Malaysia and Thailand. And last but not least, for developed countries, we have chosen USA and China. For these countries, the chosen countries were included by the variables like sizes, economics, and geography, etc. Using this simple model, we will use to forecast how this might change. The greenhouse emission may change for the next decade. It is based on the development and achievement in emission also in the future decade. It finishes with some implementations for assistance of utilization in the next context of climate change. So with this, we can actually understand what is going to happen with those 6 countries in the next decades of greenhouse emissions. And furthermore, moving on to methodology, we have used simple data progressing methodologies here. I have used in the first cases we can see in here. Let me zoom it a little bit. For these first cases we have data selections, and for second cases we have data pre-processing and data modeling, then data evaluation and data visualization and performance. For this FYP1 we have selected to do the data selection and data pre-processing. So as we mentioned, data selection, we have selected the data set. Now moving on, allow me to move on to the presentation slide. So the data set that consists of 1990 to 2018 data. We have more than 196 countries and emission of or more than 3 decades. So here we'll only choose 6 countries that we have mentioned before in the categories we have mentioned before. So all of this dataset is collected from Climate Watch and NASA in some cases. The dataset contains about 196 rows and 36 columns, containing more than 5,460 data of greenhouse emission over 195 countries. Here we have chosen a limited period of data pre-processing picture where we have chosen 6 countries and their data. Moving on to the poster. So now that was our data selection and data pre-processing. The pre-processing process is actually something simple for us, and we start and load and then remove the redundant rows and columns. In this case we have chosen 6 countries and we have chosen those 6 rows only, and in some cases there are extra redundant columns that we have chosen to cut out as well, and we have treated the missing values. For our dataset there were very little missing values. Finishes our data processing. Now with that, our second part of our methodology is finished. For data modeling, we have chosen to do the implementation of data modeling in FYP2. For FYP1 we have only chosen the algorithm. Here we have chosen the profit algorithm that is one of the best time series data forecasting algorithms that actually fits our trend of work, trend of research. Furthermore, it's an open source software introduced by Facebook's data science team, so it's okay for us to use. And for research environment and setup, we have chosen to go with Python as a programming language, and as tools we have used Google. We have you have been using Google Colab and Jupyter Notebook, as these two tools allows us to um, go through with data pre-processing real faster, and hopefully with the modeling as well. With that, moving on, we can move on to references, where here we have only chosen two of them, showing one of them in published in 2009, the prediction influences factors of Kuznets curve in Chinese carbon dioxide environment. It shows the importance and the implementations of greenhouse gas that impacts in our environment, and for economic growth and carbon dioxide emission and energy consumption of another report that is published in 2018. Here they have worked over, it's a similar research as they have worked over the data from 1990 to 2014, and they have also implemented the policies from here for energy consumptions, which in this paper we can see that it has a positive effect in some of the areas, however mostly leading a negative effect into all over the globe. So furthermore, I would like to add that there is some parts in the report that we chose to add as a literature review. All of them are added and shown in here. Hopefully there will be more briefly described in the reports. And for the progress and future work, for this FYP1, so we have so far completed the data collections, data pre-processing, and data validations. And for future work, we have chosen to complete the model and even validate the model, and data evaluations, and data visualization and performance improvisations. Completing the data visualization and model validation, and in the end maybe as well performance measurements. So that will be all for FYP1, and that will be the end for the FYP1 presentation as well. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much.